We start the day's other headlines in the Middle East, where the first phase of the fragile ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is set to expire tomorrow. An Israeli delegation returned from Cairo today with gaps reportedly remaining in negotiations. Egyptian security sources are cited as saying that Israel is pushing to extend the first phase of the deal. Hamas said today it's ready to move on to the second stage, which would entail negotiating a permanent end to the war. In the meantime, in Israel, mourners gathered at a stadium for the memorial ceremony of hostage Saki Idan, whose remains were returned this week, along with 3 others. And in Gaza, Palestinians prepared for the Islamic holy month of Ramadan, even as their homes and communities lie in ruins. Back in this country, a jury in Illinois found a 73-year-old landlord guilty of murder and hate crimes today for killing a Palestinian-American boy and seriously injuring his mother. The mother testified that Joseph Chuba attacked her with a knife in 2023 before stabbing her 6-year-old son, Wadi Al-Fayumi, to death in another room. Authorities say that Chuba attacked them because they are Muslim and as a response to the Israel-Hamas war. He pleaded not guilty. Pope Francis suffered an isolated breathing crisis this afternoon. The Vatican said a bronchial spasm led to a, quote, episode of vomiting with inhalation and sudden worsening of the respiratory condition. The scare required the use of supplemental oxygen. Doctors at Gemelli Hospital in Rome say the Pope responded well and remained conscious throughout. Today's setback came after 2 relatively upbeat days for the 88-year-old pontiff. The Vatican has already made alternative plans for Ash Wednesday next week to account for the Pope's condition. A so-called economic blackout called for today has been getting plenty of attention online, but its impact is still unclear.
We spend money and make people rich without even realizing we're doing it.
An activist group called the People's Union called on Americans not to spend any money for 24 hours. They say it's a way to protest the influence of billionaires, big corporations, and both major political parties. One Atlanta resident said she's taking part because she's tired of corporate greed.
I've blocked my cards up already. I'm not spending any money at all. I feel like our voices aren't being heard, but they're still receiving our money. They won't stop. They won't actually listen to us until we stop giving them our money.
Experts say today's economic blackout is relatively uncoordinated compared to other such protests, and it's unclear whether it will have much impact on the companies it targets. The same group plans another broad economic blackout on March 28th. The internet calling service Skype is shutting down. Owner Microsoft is directing users to the company's Teams service instead. Skype launched in 2003 and quickly became a go-to for audio and video calls worldwide. When Microsoft bought Skype in 2011, it had roughly 170 million users each month. But the rise of smartphones and competition from apps like WhatsApp and Zoom have cut into Skype's market share. Skype will officially go out of service on May 5th. And on Wall Street today, stocks closed out the month on an upbeat note. The Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped about 600 points on the day. The Nasdaq added roughly 300 points. The S&P 500 also ended firmly in positive territory. And for space lovers and amateurs alike, tonight is the best chance to get a glimpse of what's known as a planetary parade. It's a rare event when 7 planets all share the night sky, and many of them visible to the naked eye. Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Venus, Neptune, Mercury, and Saturn will align in an arc to the south before Mercury and Saturn drop too low on the horizon. The phenomenon won't happen again for at least a decade. For the best viewing experience, you'll want to find a place with a clear sky and minimal light pollution. 2 of the planets, Uranus and Neptune, won't be visible without binoculars or a telescope. Still to come on the NewsHour. The National Weather Service faces drastic cuts from the Trump administration. David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart weigh in on the week's political headlines. And Oscar nominee Fernanda Torres on her role in the Brazilian film I'm Still Here.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.